ladies and gentlemen. You're watching, yes, the Yankees Entertainment and Sports Network.
After 13 years in pinstripes and 16 years in the bigs, Andy Pettit had sufficiently filled out his resume. He had 5 World Series rings, 3 All-Star Game appearances, and 240 wins on the back of his baseball card. It was a job well done. Time to move on with the rest of his life.
My heart is not fully, completely sold out to do what I feel like I need to do as a player on the New York Yankees.
But a year away from the action, the competition, the cheers, and most of all his teammates were enough to tell Pettit he wasn't done. The 1 year turned out to be a deep breath, not a retirement. He still had more to give. Today, he returns to the stage, the brim of the cap pulled down, highlighting his intense laser-like stare, focusing on the task at hand. Now he is back on the mound. He missed it more than he could have imagined, and he was missed just as we had imagined he would be. The curtain rises on Andy Pettit's second act. Next on Yes. Mother's Day and Andy Pettit's return all encapsulated right there. They'll be using the pink bats to honor the moms that made it all possible. I drove you to the Little League games, made you the lunch. Give Mom a kiss and settle in and watch some baseball as Hyundai presents the Sunday Game of the Week. Today, it's the Seattle Mariners against the New York Yankees in the final game of a 3-game set from Yankee Stadium in the Bronx, New York. And a good afternoon, everybody. This is indeed Yankees baseball. David Cohn, Michael Kay, everybody here at the Yes Network wishes you a happy Mother's Day. And it's a special day if you're watching this game, especially if you're a Yankee fan. It's about the pitching matchup. So we will look at that first. The New York Lottery pitching matchup features Kevin Millwood for the Seattle Mariners. That's his career record against Andrew Eugene Pettit for the New York Yankees, sporting a 3.88 ERA. Not many people can understand what Andy Pettit is feeling, but the guy standing next to me can. David, you sat out a year and you returned. What's going through Andy's mind right now?
Well, I hope it works out a little better for Andy than it worked out for me, but the emotions are just incredible. I underestimated how I would feel that first game back when I tried to pitch with the Mets in 2003. I underestimated it. Your heart's jumping, the feelings you get, the crowd reaction, going to be very difficult for Andy to control his emotions today. Early innings are going to be a key. His command, his pitch count, see how he deals with all of this emotion.
All right, now, results-wise, what can we realistically expect from Andy Pettit?
Well, I think you're going to expect Andy to overthrow a few pitches because he's human. And when you're human, you're going to make mistakes and you're going to get caught up in the day, everything it means, the adulation that's coming his way. You know, I really think he's going to struggle in the early innings, but Andy's got a way of making adjustments on the fly. We'll see how good he is at that. He's always been excellent in that feature of his game.
I spoke to Andy Pettit in the clubhouse, and he said, you know what, it feels like I've never left. But he did leave. It's been about a year and a half since he's been on the mound. He's going to get huge cheers. It should be interesting. We'll be watching closely as Andy Pettit returns. when you can go pro. Andy is indeed back moments ago, walking in from the bullpen. Andy Pettit soaking it in, crowd cheering, and then taking a very, very deep breath. Almost a cleansing breath, because you know he is pumped up right now, and why wouldn't he be? And I think that one of the keys, David, and you mentioned this at the beginning, and the crowd standing now as Paul Olden announces Andy Pettit as a starter, is how do you control your emotions? Yeah, I mean, there's no way to prepare for this. All of the minor league starts that he's had, his sort of abbreviated spring training on his own, that cannot get you ready for what he's going to feel today. The adrenaline rush up here is so much more than in any rehab start he got. So he did look a little grayer there walking in, though, didn't he? Yes, he did. Now, the one thing with Andy, when he decided to come back in spring training, it almost seemed like a luxury. How are the Yankees going to get 7 starters into 5 spots? Who was going to go down? Who was going to the bullpen? But now it's turned from a luxury into a necessity. They need him to be close to what he was. Yeah, absolutely they do. They need him for his experience, for the fact that he's left-handed. You know, one of the underrated facets of Andy's game, you know, and looking at this comeback was his pickoff move and the way he can control the running game, all the intangibles that Andy does well, fielding his position well, great pickoff move, left-handed. The Yankees need all of those on that staff right now. Well, the Yankees are poised right now to come out of the dugout. Andy Pettit, probably a myriad of emotions going through his mind. Derek Jeter gets to rejoin with one of the core 4. Jorge Posada retired during the offseason. Mariano Rivera is injured for the rest of this season. But Andy Pettit, at the age of 39, returns, and the Yankees are getting a pitcher that's 102 games over 500, and it's the only pitcher currently on a major league 40-man roster and one of only 26 pitchers all time with at least 100 games over 500. So Derek's been there for every single one of the Yankee games. Andy did spend 3 years with the Houston Astros, and there he is as he is prepared to go out on the mound. The Yankees are waiting for the signal to take the field, and he's taking a lot of deep cleansing breaths as he prepares to go out on that mound. He's been in the minor leagues with a minor league assignment, and the Yankees do take the field, led by their captain Derek Jeter, and Andy Pettit is about to walk up those steps. Let's listen. Andy Pettit about to take his warm-ups. He's gone through so much. These stadium fans love him. 13 years with the Yankees, 5 world championships, and after a year off, he is back on the stadium mound. Let's take a look at the lineup that he's going to face, put together by Eric Wedge. The Mariners will send up Dustin Ackley, their second baseman, to lead off. Batting second and playing left field, Casper Wells. Ichiro Suzuki in right field will hit third. Cleaning up the catcher, Jesus Montero. Justin Smoke at first base will bat fifth. Batting sixth and playing third base, Alex Liddy. Mike Karp is a DH, will bat seventh. The number 8 hitter is the center fielder, Michael Saunders. And Brendan Ryan, the shortstop, will bat ninth. Here is the lefty, and obviously you've got to go back to 2010. And when we say Andy walked out on top, he did, even though he only had 21 starts that year. He had great numbers, only 41 walks and 129 innings in that low ERA of 3.28. And our scouting report, boy, we had a lot to go through to try to come up with a scouting report. But Whitey, Red, and Andy, that refers to Whitey Ford and Red Ruffing, and Andy's right there with him in a lot of categories. He's now made, this start will be 14 different seasons that he started one game. He's also third on the all-time wins list with the Yankees. Whitey Ford, number 1 with 236. And as we said, he left on top. 2010, those numbers speak for themselves. And daydream believer, actually, he's excellent during the day. He was 7-0 in 2010 during the day. And for his career, 79-48 with a 3.84 ERA in day games. All right, so the crowd is pumped up. You can actually feel the electricity here in the Bronx. Andy Pettit atop the mound, Dustin Ackley at the plate. And let's do it here in the Bronx as the veteran left-hander deals. The first pitch is foul back, and we are underway. Andy made the decision to come back after being in camp as an instructor. He kind of got the itch again. He said, I'm going to give it a try. The 0-1. 1-1. Since he got such a late start, it kind of started to build up after the team had essentially left spring training, get his innings in. And Ackley hits a fly ball to right field. Swisher near the wall, leaps, then he makes the play. 1 down.
A little bit of a hold your breath. No, 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 that's not going to get out of here. Nick Swisher makes sure it doesn't. Pink wristbands. See Andy, boy, I'm thinking too, boy, if I'm on the mound, I think, oh, I'm going, no way. I'm not the first batter. Don't get out of here.
Here's Casper Wells, and there's a strike. The bleacher creature's giving Andy Pettit the chant. Will he acknowledge them, or is he locked in? The only pitcher I've ever seen who acknowledged it was David Wells. But Andy is so locked in, he might not be hearing that. I'm not sure. Working quickly. Count 3-1.
Well, I think he definitely hears it. You know, he obviously is locked in on home plate right now in the catcher's glove, but there's no, you definitely hear it when you're on the mound.
Strike on the outside corner. 88 miles an hour, which is what Joe Girardi felt that Andy would get to today. Andy was throwing about 85, 86 in his minor league games. And the 3-2. He walked him. So the first base runner against Andy Pettit. Let's check out the Yankee defense behind Andy. Brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. In the outfield, it's Ibanez, Granderson, and Swisher left to right. Infield is A-Rod, Jeter, Cano, and Teixeira. Russell Martin behind the plate. And Andrew Eugene Pettit is on the mound. Here's Ichiro Suzuki. 1 for 8 so far in this series. 16 for 40 lifetime against Pettit. That's 400. Strike, 90 miles an hour on the outside corner.
You know, that's just straight adrenaline rush. That's what we talked about in our open. You can't get that starting at Double-A, you know, when you're almost 40 years old. You've seen what that guy's seen.
Chops softly to Jeter. There's one. On to first. It's a double play. So Ichiro brings into a 6-6-3 double play, and Andy Pettit is through the first inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left. Seattle nothing, and the New York Yankees coming back. As Andy Pettit faces the minimum 3 in the top half of the first. Here's the Yankees starting lineup presented by Lexus. The captain, the shortstop, Derek Jeter, leads off. Batting second and playing center field, Curtis Granderson. Alex Rodriguez, the third baseman, hits third. Cleaning up second baseman, Robinson Cano. Mark Teixeira's at first base, he'll bat fifth. Batting sixth, playing right field, Nick Swisher. Raul Ibanez in left field will hit seventh. Batting eighth and DHing, Eric Chavez. And Russell Martin will catch, and he's going to bat ninth.
And on the other side of Andy Pettit, another old war horse, Kevin Millwood. On the season, 7th start, 0-4, trying to get off the schneid. None of those numbers look very good, but Kevin Millwood does have his arm speed back. His velocity's been better on his last 2 starts. And the scouting report, you know, as we said, he's lost 4 straight starts coming into this. You kind of feel like maybe he's pitching for his job, but he's never lost 5 in a row in his career. And most notably, he's a former Brave. He's bounced around a bit, but he was 75 and 46 for the Braves. An excellent starter, an all-star that year in '99, and third in the Cy Young.
Pitch to Jeter. He swings at the first pitch and skies it to right field. Ichiro in the corner near the seats. Runs out of room.
And he is the 7th oldest starter, Kevin Millwood is. Obviously, Andy Pettit bumped him to number 7 because Andy's a little bit older than him, but I'll give you that list of names. Jamie Moyer, obviously 49 years old. Miguel Batista, 41. Andy Pettit is the 3rd oldest at 39. Bartolo Colon, Derek Lowe, R.A. Dickey, and now Kevin Millwood is the 7th oldest.
Jeter fouls it away. Here's a list that David just gave you. So Millwood just 56 days behind R.A. Dickey, who's had such a great start for the Mets. Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did. So Derek Jeter down on strikes against Millwood. Let's check out the Mariners defense, brought to you by your Mercedes-Benz Tri-State dealer. Wells, Saunders, and Suzuki left to right in the outfield. Infield is Liddy, Ryan, Ackley, and Smoke. That's third to first. Montero behind the plate, and Kevin Millwood is on the mound. She's got herself a pink bat from Derek Jeter. It's quite a gift here on a Sunday in New York. As Granderson fouls it back. So Derek used the bat once, struck out with it, said, I don't want it. Give it to the little girl, and made himself another fan.
She didn't whack her brother on the head with it.
He's going to end up with it. The 0-1. Pitch is high. Millwood throwing 90 miles an hour. Granderson with the pink shoelaces to honor breast cancer awareness here on Mother's Day.
Nice touch.
High pop-up. Ryan makes the play for the second out. It is a gorgeous, gorgeous Sunday afternoon. Let's look at the game time weather presented by Bigelow Tea. You can see there's not a cloud in the sky. 77 degrees, 36% humidity. Wind is 10 miles per hour. Now the forecast is for partly cloudy, but there is not one cloud in the sky. So I think the forecast at this point might be off, but that's why it's a forecast. It could happen in the future. Here's Alex Rodriguez. Check swing fouled away. Millwood has suffered from what we saw Noesi suffer from yesterday, that one bad inning. And when you have a one bad inning start with this team, you lose because they don't have enough offense to make up for that one bad inning. That's why he's still looking for his first victory. But the Mariners also looking for an older pitcher on their staff to counsel their youngsters. And they've got some great young talent and prospects, but they're at Double-A. If one of them were to come up, Millwood would probably stay. A couple of people in the Mariners told me it would be Noesi that would go down. And Millwood's close with Eric Wedge from their Indian days.
He hasn't gotten a lot of help from the bullpen either. You know, Seattle's bullpen's got a little bit under a 6 ERA in relief of him this year, which is the highest among any Seattle starters. So sometimes your fate is left with the bullpen, and how many runners you leave on base and how they perform can really affect your record, and we see that 5.40.
Check swing. Did he go? No, said Jerry Meals.
The Yankees took a look at Millwood last year, I believe. You know, Millwood's been on the scrap heap the last couple of years, but he's had a good career. You know, he's 163 and 144 in his career. And his arm speed is back, as Michael noted. You know, he's up above 90 miles an hour again. Some good sharp sliders. One to strike out Jeter. Yankee fans will remember Millwood in the '99 World Series. He pitched Game 2 against me down in Atlanta. I rolled him up and smoked him like a Cuban cigar, Michael.
7 innings, 1 hit.
Just kidding, obviously. Kevin Millwood, he really, you know, underrated career. So he kind of flew under the radar with the Braves and those great pitchers they had down in Atlanta, but part of that Atlanta Braves system that just churns out good pitcher after good pitcher.
3-2. Grounded to third. Liddy across the diamond, and that'll do it. A 1-2-3 inning for Millwood against this Yankee lineup. We're going to go to the second. Andy Pettit against Jesus Montero next. And today's question is, what do you think is Andy Pettit's signature moment with the Yankees? Now you can text your vote to 42951. Standard text messaging rates apply. Here are your choices. Winning 21 games in '96, outdueling Smoltz in '96, clinching Game 4 of '98's World Series, winning the final game at the old stadium, going 4-0 in the '09 postseason. Got some choices there. I'll tell you how you voted later. Here's the old versus the young. Andy Pettit against Jesus Montero.
Something you don't see often. Montero took a strike.
Also wearing pink spikes. He actually did the pink laces of Granderson, one better. Now the big question with Andy Pettit coming back, is he going to be old Andy Pettit or the Andy Pettit of old? And I don't know if this game really is the deciding factor, because adrenaline might carry him through this game. Will he hold up? Will his stuff hold up? Those are questions the Yankees are going to watch very closely before they answer.
the thing is what type of how he's going to hold up the entire year, Michael. He's missed 7 starts, so you're going to look at Andy still making over 20 starts this year. Probably similar to what he had in 2010, where he finished up with 21 starts. Still got double-digit wins that year.
Line drive right at Jeter.
I think the Yankees would be thrilled if Andy Pettit could get the double-digit wins again and just be reliable for them and be a steadying influence in a September playoff run once again. One thing I'm looking for today, Michael, is obviously the first time that Russell Martin and Andy Pettit have hooked up. And Andy's not the easiest guy to catch. He's got a very, both sides of the plate. You see Andy's shaking him off already, and that's something Andy's really never done.
Grounded softly to short. Jeter charges and gets smoked. The second out.
One thing we saw towards the end of Andy's run up into 2010 was he did start to shake off the catcher and call his own games, whereas before, earlier in his career, he just was a follower. He wanted the catcher to give him the sign, tell me where you want it, and I'll throw it there. And you can see they're already talking. You see Andy sending him signs, and he's got all sorts of little twitches or signals that he can give to a catcher about what he wants to throw, which side of the plate he wants to throw it.
Alex Liddy, and a strike.
Already into a good mix, mixing all of his pitches in here in the first 2 innings. Working fast too, gets the ball back, never leaves the rubber.
He's having fun right now?
Definitely. Yeah, he's into a groove. You can tell he's under control. Much better than I thought he would be here. In our open, I thought, he would overthrow some pitches early and maybe struggle with his command.
I saw him early this morning in the clubhouse. He said, you know what, it's weird. I don't feel weird. He said, I feel like last year never happened. I haven't left this clubhouse. He said, I don't know what it's going to be like on the mound, but being in here, it doesn't feel odd at all.
Just the eyes.
And he walks Alex Liddy. Second walk for Pettit.
See, almost in the other batter's box. Andy loves his catchers moving a lot in and out off the plate because he'll throw cutters and balls that move. And he wants that catcher's target to be just off the plate. Carp there with 2 home runs. Almost had 3 yesterday. Had 1 call reversed.
Well, that's one thing that controls a running game a lot of pitchers don't have. Andy Pettit is so good at keeping you close with that balk move. Righties would call it a balk move. Lefties call it a great move. Shattered bat, slow roller to Cano. And that's going to do it. So through 2 innings, Andy Pettit has not allowed a hit. We go to the bottom of the second. Robinson Cano up against Kelvin Millwood. games on your PCs or laptops with Time Warner Cable. Get a full season of live Yankees games on the go for just $49.99. If you're a Time Warner Cable customer, just go to yesnetwork.com to get more information and subscribe now. All right, we go to the bottom of the second inning. Cano, Teixeira, and Swisher. Look here, number 24. My name is Robinson, too. So, a pair of Robbies. Cano with a 10-game hitting streak. 11 for 19. And a strike. Nine ribbies last 6 games, 4 ribbies in the first 27 games. That one is looped into left field. Casper Wells is there and put it away for the first out. Here's Mark Teixeira. Yesterday, Teixeira with a double that started the Yankees' 4-run second inning. The night before, he had 2 hits, so starting to come out of it a little bit. 4 for his last 27.
We've always seen Teixeira kind of hit home runs in bunches and just get off to slow starts. He's getting better swings. He had a good day yesterday, even though he didn't get a lot to show for it.
Count 2-0.
Getting in these counts more often certainly helps. The hitter's count right here. The Yankees see a lot of 2-0 counts with their lineups.
Yankees trying to sweep this series. If they win today, they would have won 5 of 6 on this homestand after splitting 4 in KC. That one's driven to left field, deep, giving Chase Wells on the run, on the track, at the wall. He makes the play. Nice play by Casper Wells. Good power the other way by Teixeira.
Teixeira's got to be thinking, what's he doing playing over there? You see, we haven't seen this swing from Teixeira too often. And down and away, stays on it. Casper Wells sort of playing Teixeira straight up and easily gets over there. Not a whole lot of room to go for Wells there. We've seen Tampa Bay play him in the outfield as well, not only on the infield, but straight pull. Casper Wells pretty much straight away there.
There's Nick Swisher. And a strike. Showing bunt. They have a big shift against Swisher. We don't really see this against Swisher that much. 3 infielders on the right side and only the third baseman Liddy on the left. So he sees a base hit there if he can get a bunt down.
And just by faking that bunt, he's brought the third baseman in much more significantly than he was before. Still room to go there.
Off speed, way out in front, 1-2.
Looking pretty comfortable right there. A little conversation with Phil Hughes.
Did not go.
I'm sure this is what he missed more than anything else when Andy was out. It was just that interaction with your teammates. The camaraderie, as they say. Certainly every athlete misses that probably more than anything else when they leave.
Grounded to the shortstop. That's the shortstop, Ryan. And Swisher is out as Millwood has been perfect through 2. Let's go to the 3rd inning. It'll be 8-9-1 on the Mariner order against Andy Pettit in his comeback game. Skipper discusses Andy Pettit's return to pinstripes. Then on Yankees on Deck, presented by Blimpie, CC Sabathia heads back home for the dedication of his high school's new baseball field. It's all coming up later after the postgame. It's only on Yes. Saunders swings at the first pitch and grounds it to Cano. 1 away. In that Joe Girardi show, I asked Joe, and I'll give you a little preview, why does a guy like Andy Pettit come back? You see the Lincoln scoreboard, zeros up there. I said, both he and Mariano, family guys, talk about wanting to be with the kids, God-fearing men. And Mariano, when he announced that he was coming back, said that he was going to come back even if he wasn't hurt. Andy Pettit steps away, and he comes back. I said, why? Why did they come back? Why can't they let it go? And I thought Joe gave a great answer, David. He said, they're men. This is what they do for a living. This is what they do well. This is what they enjoy doing. And if they feel that their families are okay, that's what they want to keep doing. He said it's a hard thing to give up. Grounded to Teixeira for the second out. He said the only reason that he retired when he did, he said, I couldn't physically do it anymore. I had a herniated disc in my back. I couldn't even sleep at night. He said, but if I was healthy, I would have still kept playing.
That is, very direct. And I can tell you from my experience, Michael, just the lure of a comeback is intoxicating. And I got caught up in it. And I'm sure Andy felt that way, and especially when you're being recruited by your former teammates. He walked out on top, and he got several calls from Mariano Rivera and other teammates as well to try to encourage him to come back.
Why did you step away? Why did you retire after 01?
It was a different era then. It was right after 9/11. I was in Boston for 1 year. I lost something after 9/11 in my heart. I really enjoyed my year in Boston, but considering what happened then, I really missed New York, and my home was still in New York, and everything the city was going through during that time.
Swing and a miss, 1-2.
It's funny, Andy said the same thing. When he retired, he said it just is not in my heart to do what I need to do to pitch again. But he found it. There's something in his heart today, and he looks good.
The 1-2. Andy's whole family is here except for his oldest son, Josh, who's playing baseball with his high school. And he said that's a disappointment for Josh and for Andy, but everybody else is here. Strike three. Acme down looking. That's an impressive 1-2-3 third inning for Andy Pettit. He has looked sharp through three. Raul Ibanez will lead off the bottom of the third inning. Andy Pettit is dealing. Megan Levy and combat dog Sergeant Rex are reunited. They were in combat together. And then Rex went on working with other people in the military after Corporal Levy had been discharged, and she's tried to adopt him, and she finally was able to do that. The Yankees honored the two of them on the field today. Great moment, and you saw the Yankee president, Randy Levine, Nick Swisher, and Alex Rodriguez were part of it as well. Just a nice thing for the Yankees to do, and a really sweet story as well. Here's Raul Ibanez. Although I don't know if you checked it out, David. Did you see A-Rod?
I did. It's a good thing that Rex had a muzzle on.
Oh, it was hilarious. A-Rod took a step. Rex, protecting the corporal. A-Rod took a quick step back. There's a strike. Count 1-1 to Ibanez. Easy. I got to play today. Lincoln scoreboard, no score. I know it's early, David, and the Mariners don't have a great offensive team, but are you a little bit surprised at how sharp Andy looks?
Well, he said it all along. I am. I would have predicted otherwise than I did, that maybe he would scuffle a little bit in the first couple innings, but he feels like he's never left, and he's pitching like he never left.
Ibanez with a fly ball to center field. Saunders is there. And Millwood's looked great, too. 7 up, 7 down.
Yeah, Millwood's had good stuff. He's topped out at 93 with his fastball. And, I noted that he has gotten his arm speed back after kind of being on the scrap heap the last couple of years. We talked about Millwood bouncing around a little bit. He was in Philly, Cleveland, Texas, Baltimore, Colorado after his Braves career. And trying to get it going here in Seattle. And another guy who's had a great career, made a lot of money, and just pitching because it's still in his heart, like Andy said.
Eric Chavez wraps one to left center field. Saunders on the run. He's not going to get there. It's going to be one hop up against the wall. As Eric Chavez with the first hit of the game, a double with one out here in the third.
Up and away, almost off the plate. That's what Chavez can give you, that kind of power. The Yankees are really fortunate to have a veteran guy like him to swing the bat. Look at that hip rotation. Hips get open right off the sweet spot of that pink bat and full extension through. There's the turnover of the top hand. Chavez still got a lot of pop in that bat. Really just said in the offseason he wanted to play for the Yankees or he wasn't going to play. The Yankees are glad that they made the choice to bring him back.
First conference between Montero and Millwood. This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the New York Yankees. Pitch outside to Martin. And a strike.
Scott Berry, the home plate umpire back there, got the pink wristbands going too, and you can tell, you got a couple of veteran pitchers on the mound, and a little bit of a pitcher strike zone today. Some balls off the plate called. That's what happens when you have 76 years of experience on the mound on both sides today.
2-2.
Kevin Millwood finished third in the Cy Young in 1999. The guy who won it, Randy Johnson with Arizona.
I gotta tell you something, David. I see his numbers, and I watched him pitch a couple of years ago in Baltimore. It looked like he was a done deal, and now he looks, his arm is alive, his stuff is alive.
Yeah, he's definitely got his arms, feet back.
And Martin works a wall.
A good take there by Martin. Pretty tough slider. High ball's another walk, and Martin's got his share of walks, even though he's struggled a bit this year.
Well, this is a big day for Derek Jeter. Not only is he playing behind his former Core 4 member, now again back, Andy Pettit, but Derek received an honorary degree from Siena College today. And the degree was accepted, I believe, by Derek's sister, Charlie, and means a great deal to him. And a couple of the kids from Siena tweeted me and said, we're always going to say we graduated with Derek Jeter.
Nice.
There's a strike. He's tied with Tony Gwynn for 17th place on the all-time hits list. One more hit, he ties Robin Yount for 16th place. Hitting .373. Struck out in the first inning. 0-2. Derek gave away the pink bat after striking out in the first, and back to his normal bat choice.
She's happy about it.
She's the one who got it.
I have that smile on her face all day.
She'll go back to her neighborhood and she'll tell her friends, yeah, Derek Jeter gave me this, and they'll all think she's lying, and then she'll produce the DVR version of this game on Yes, and we'll show that it is true. Fights it off and fouls it off. 1-2 pitch. Still 1-2.
Yesterday with Derek Jeter, how many pitches he fouls off. All the strikes he sees, 33% are the fouled off variety. Just one after another, fighting off pitches.
And the count 3-2. So a battle between Jeter and Millwood.
From 0-2 to 3-2, seen Jeter do that a lot. Forcing Millwood to throw more pitches, up to 42 pitches now in the bottom of the third. A little surprised with Brendan Ryan at short, playing behind Chavez, who's not a threat to steal third, even though he will back off. Very close. Worried about Chavez at second.
Grounded to third. There's one. On to first. It's a double play. For the Yankees, no runs a hit, no errors, and one man left. We've played 3. There's no score. Andy Pettit has returned to the mound since Game 3, 2010. And he has done everything you could possibly have hoped for. He hasn't allowed a hit through 3. Quitline quiz. During the decade of the 90s, the Yankees had 5 different starting pitchers make the All-Star team at least once. Who were they? I know we're not supposed to have hints, but am I sitting next to one?
Absolutely.
And you're the only one I'm sitting next to. And I think there might be one on the mound, so the other 3 are the ones we have to guess about. Here's Casper Wells, and he has walked 2. Pitch outside.
Well, that was the beauty of that pitching staff of the 90s. Everybody took a turn at being a #1 guy. In fact, during the playoff runs of the 90s, Joe Torre almost had a different Game 1 starter every year. He had plenty of opportunity. Joe Torre's in the house today, too, to watch Andy Pettit pitch.
Did he go? Yes, he did. And the count 1-2. Boy, a lot of pitchers could learn a lesson from Andy Pettit about walking around on the backside of the mound between pitches. He never leaves the rubber. He's just waiting for the batter to get back into the box. Slow roller, back to the mound. Pettit fields, fires. One away here in the fourth. This has been a play the Yankees are worried about a little bit because Andy in 2010 had some leg injuries, and is he going to be able to field this position and keep those legs healthy?
Almost not quite shades of the '96 World Series against Smoltz, but that play at third base, one of the best defensive plays in World Series history. You know, 1-0 game. Andy bouncing off the mound and firing to third base.
Grounded to second. 2 outs.
Just what the doctor ordered, some early outs on first or second pitches, and Andy throwing a lot of first pitch strikes as well. 41 pitches here in the fourth. It could not be better.
Here's Montero. Foul back. Steadily at 88, he's hit 90, and he can win at that. When I asked him the other day if he was concerned that his velocity was 85, 86, he said, that's what I pitched at in 2010. He said, as long as I make my pitches and pitch out there, you can get by with 86, 87.
Yeah, his 86, 87's got a little movement on it, too. A little cutting action. He could two-seam it and sink it as well.
Two and two. Missed outside. Crowd wanted strike 3, so did Pettit.
Well, this is what he does, the backdoor cutter. You see that movement coming. Kind of came around the plate, though. Very close. Russell Martin with a good frame.
Then he ends up walking Montero. That's the third base runner for Seattle. All 3 walks. Andy's going to be 40 on June 15th. Sat out last year, we've mentioned that. As a Yankee, 203 wins. He's the only pitcher ever drafted by the Yankees to win 200 games in the majors. That's an amazing fact. At least to me it is. In 2010, 11-3, 3.28. His 786 winning percentage was the best in the American League. Smoke fouls it back. And we know his success in the postseason, 5 World Championship rings, the ALCS MVP in 01. 19 wins all time, that's the most. The innings and the games, the same deal. And he finished in style. 2009, 4-0, 3.52. That one is driven deep to left field. Giving Chase Ibanez, turning, looking, see ya. A 2-run home run for Smoke. The first hit allowed by Andy Pettit. It's a loud one. A 2-run shot. Seattle leads 2-0.
See, Smoke's got power from both sides of the plate. That cutter does not cut inside. It just sits there. And that's the sound of the sweet spot, even on a pink bat.
That one's popped up by Liddy. Swisher is there. That'll do it. So a walk to Montero and then a home run to Justin Smoke. As we go to the bottom of the fourth, Mariners up 2-0. Granderson leads off. The question, during the decade of the 90s, the Yankees had 5 different starting pitchers make the All-Star team at least once. Who were they? So we know Cone and Pettit were 2. Who were the other 3? Jimmy Key, David Wells, and Scott Sanderson. That I would not have gotten.
That was the trickster right in there.
Good question. Curtis Granderson takes a strike. It's 2-0 Seattle. We're in the bottom of the fourth inning. Curtis took to Twitter about the significance of using the pink bat, and here's what Curtis tweeted out. Today, swinging a pink bat and wearing pink wristbands for my grandmother who passed away from breast cancer. She got me watching WWF and baseball. His grandma passed away when he was 10 years old.
Grandma liked wrestling.
Swing and a miss. Anderson down on strikes. On this Mother's Day, I'd like to take time out to wish all you moms out there. Take time out to wish all you moms out there a happy Mother's Day. While you're watching this game, go find mom wherever she is in the house and thank her for all the things she does for you. Do it while you have a chance, because when mom's not there anymore, you'll be wishing you did say it. So make it known. It's an important person in your life. Here's Alex Rodriguez. 0-1.
And if you got mom to come to the Yankee game, you're lucky.
That's right.
That's good mom right there. And daughters, too.
Count 1-1. It's always the dads that are connected with the sons playing the sports, but if throughout the years, whenever an athlete is on camera, it's always hi, mom.
True. I still remember my mom keeping score at my Little League games, yelling at me from the stands.
Swing and a miss. Now, usually, I mean, it's not always this way. Dad's out working, and might not be able to drive the kids to school when the mom's not working. The mom driving to Little League practice and the games and packing the lunches and things like that. They're just as responsible for the kids' success as the dads are.
Mine was. Throw strikes, David. I'll never forget that.
Now, did she get into mechanics, or she's just telling you end games?
Just strategy.
Just throw strikes.
Get it over.
You know what? It's not bad.
I want to go home. Get the ball over the plate.
That's usually the main thing in the arsenal of most pitching coaches. Just throw strikes. She's got the new hat. She's trying to get the right adjustment done there. Still doesn't have the way she likes it. And what a great day to spend with Mom. It's a beautiful day in New York City. And now the hat is just right. She's got the crown just right. The foam fingers working. Happy Mother's Day, everybody.
Loving it.
Popped up. Makes the seats.
Millwood has stayed inside on Cano. A cutter that last pitch. The first time up, he kind of jammed him up and in. He knows that Robbie likes to get his arms extended, has great plate coverage. Coming back in again.
Count 2-2.
Kind of got away with this when you see Montero setting up in. It's a cutter. It kind of spins and sits up out over the plate. Robbie's out in front of it. 83-mile-an-hour cutter. A steady dose of pitching Cano in.
Two. Tap slowly to short. Brendan Ryan is there. And a 1-2-3 inning for Millwood. As we go to the fifth on this Mother's Day, to paraphrase Mrs. Cone, just go out there and throw strikes. And they're 7.5 games off the pace. We go to the top of the fifth inning here at the stadium. Andy Pettit deals to Mike Carp, and there's a strike. Pettit with a 2-out walk in the fourth inning, and then he served up a 2-run home run to Justin Smoke to left field, and that's the ball game right now. Carp pops it up. Jeter shading his eyes, and he makes the play. That did not seem as if it was easy for the first out. Follow the Yankees with the MLB.com @BAT12 app for your iPhone, iPad, Android, and Windows Mobile. Get live audio, pitch tracking, video highlights, and more. Text @BAT to 31826 or visit Yankees.com for details.
Doesn't get any higher than the sky is today. No clouds. Jeter with the sunglasses on.
A drag bunt, and it's a beautiful bunt by Saunders. He makes a single out of it. Andy Pettit did not get off the mound, so once Teixeira went to his right, there was nobody covering first base.
Well placed. As you see, the left-handed Pettit's going to fall off towards third base. Does not break right away, and it would have been difficult unless he just incredibly just reacted right away. Just a running start and a great bunt. It's the beauty of the drag bunt. You almost start running simultaneously as you put the ball down on the ground.
You could read his lips. He said, "My fault," as Brandon Ryan steps in. Good throw to first. Diving back is Saunders. One thing the veteran has over a less experienced player is the ability to maybe zone out distractions. And this has been quite a week for Andy Pettit. In fact, 2 weeks where he's had the highs and the lows. He testified in the Roger Clemens trial, and that was stressful, I'm sure, David. And here he is on the mound, a different sort of stress, but I guess a happier stress. So you have to ride those waves and be able to control it.
Yeah, probably the most anxious he's been on the high end and the low end over the 2-week period. Testifying against a former teammate and friend in Washington, May 1st and 2nd. Very difficult situation. A controversial testimony. And then coming here today and getting the reception that he got today from these Yankee fans who love him. You know, Vince Lombardi used to say there's God, there's family, and there's football. Well, for Andy Pettit, on a professional note, these last 2 weeks have got to be some of the most incredible weeks emotionally for him that he's ever had in his life.
And there have been rarely two closer teammates than Andy Pettit and Roger Clemens. And from all the accounts that you read from the trial, they never looked at each other. They couldn't even look at each other in court. So, and then Andy received some criticism because he kind of backed off on previous testimony where he said it was 50-50 if he remembered the right way. And again, that's another story, but these are some of the emotions that Andy Pettit's gone through over the last 2 weeks. Playing catch with Teixeira.
I've always been jealous of that pickoff move, you know, from a pitching standpoint. In Pettit, 99 pickoffs he's had since the pickoff officially became a stat in 1974, which is the most ever.
Earlier in the week, we found out that the right-handers version of that, the old Jeff Nelson, I call it, is going to be outlawed at the end of this year. And I actually got a text from Jeff Nelson, who's very upset because he knows he gets mentioned on each broadcast because of that. He said, "Why are they doing that?" And there's really no clear explanation other than that a lefty can't do it. Why should a righty be able to? As Ryan swings and foul tips it into the glove of Martin.
Martin setting up low and away, right to the glove. Backdoor cutter. Ball that starts off the plate and cuts to the outside corner. Perfectly executed.
Back to the top of the order, and Dustin Ackley. And a strike.
all-purpose pitch there. Inside fastball pushes him off to set up this pitch. Also Martin getting the signs from Tony Pena in the dugout. Justin Ackley a little in disbelief. A couple of times in a row he's been called on that slider down and away. He better swing at it because it's a strike today.
Runner goes, throw to second, got him. Good tag by Jeter, tagging out Saunders on the slide in. No runs a hit, no errors, and because of the caught stealing, nobody left on base. The end of 4.5, we're halfway through. It's 2-0 Mariners. Teixeira leads off. To the mound, a 2-run home run by Justin Smoke, the only damage on the board. Two veteran pitchers going at it, one lefty and one righty. Millwood, the righty, deals. And a check swing, slow roller up the first base line. Montero fields, throws it in the dirt, and an infield single for Mark Teixeira. That's the second one he's gotten on this homestand. The other one down to third base line, this one up the first base line.
No, that's the thing I get about the whole check swing thing, Michael. If he doesn't make contact with that and they check the umpire on that swing, they probably don't call it a strike. You see Montero tries to get a little too quick. One hopper from about 20 feet. Teixeira easily beats him.
Here's Nick Swisher. How about this stat? He is 0 for his last 21 with runners on base. That one is driven to right field. Now he's not 0 for 21. He's 1 for 22. Ichiro comes up throwing. Nick made a big turn. He'll head back to first as Teixeira moves to third. That was the longest streak of hitless at-bats for Swisher with runners on base, and he just breaks it with that.
Swisher much more aggressive this year. Not taking as many first pitches. Jumps all over it. This ball's hit so hard off the auxiliary scoreboard that Swisher's held to a single.
So the Yankees have runners on the corners and nobody out for Raul Ibanez. Teixeira's at third, and Swisher is at first. '91 up high, and the count 1-0. Last 5 games coming into today's game, 8 for 18 for Ibanez, 4 homers and 9 ribbies. A valued teammate while with Seattle, while with the Phillies as well, and you can see why, just the way he conducts himself in the clubhouse. A polished veteran. Count 2-0 as Millwood overthrows. Ibanez 9 hits and 27 at bats this year with runners in scoring position, and 2 of the 9 home runs. Mariners will take the double play here. They'll give up the run. Yankees looking for more than that. And 3-0. 1 pitch away from loading the bases. Millwood's asking Scott Barry where was that pitch as Eric Chavez is on deck.
Going to the bullpen phone right here in the 5th. Seattle with a 2-0 lead. Don't want to see this game get away.
And he walked him on 4 pitches. So the bases are now loaded with nobody out. See that battery, David, a rookie catcher and a veteran pitcher. Who's doing the calling there?
Well, you know, I haven't seen a lot of shaking off from Millwood with regards to Montero's signal calling. And they've worked pretty well right up to this point. Now all of a sudden you find yourself bases loaded, nobody out. So a little different situation with a man on second base here. You've got to go to multiple signs, and if Millwood doesn't like it, you've got to roll over the sequence.
Here's Chavez. He doubled his last time up. There's a strike. 5 grand slams for Chavez in his career. .283 average in these situations. Yankees trail 2-0. We're in the bottom of the 5th. Quickly 0-2.
Kind of Millwood's bread and butter. That hard slider in on lefties. Been very effective with that pitch so far today. You see Chavez tied up to get to 0-2. Expect a setup pitch here, maybe a fastball up and in to push him off, or maybe he'll go to the slow curve to go for the strikeout on 0-2. You see Millwood shaking off Montero. Chavez anxious, calls timeout. So Millwood has a pitch in mind, and you got to get on the same page with Montero. Nope. 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 Okay, I'll take that one.
The 0-2. Strike 3. Chavez down looking. Fastball right down the middle. Big strikeout from Millwood. Let's check out the pitch by pitch brought to you by Monster.
Millwood's going to go to his bread and butter. That slider in that Chavez takes. Once again, he's over the top of it. Now the fastball in. A little bit of run back. Right on the inside corner. Watch Montero set up inside. Oh, just shaves the front edge of the corner there with a little spillover fastball. Learned that one from Greg Maddox, his old Atlanta Braves teammate. Excellent pitch on 0-2.
There's Russell Martin. 1-0. Back.
Now when you're on the mound, you're thinking about getting out of this now. You know, nobody out and the bases loaded. You get a strikeout on 3 pitches. Now you're getting greedy. Now you're thinking another strikeout or a ground ball. I can escape this. Do a Houdini act. You go from being on the ropes, and the bullpen phone is getting used by your manager to, I'm going to get the handcuffs off.
1-1. Missed outside, the count 2-1.
Big pitch right there in this sequence. Big difference between 2-1 and 1-2. Just missed with that slider.
Martin walked in the 3rd inning.
Martin, a good fastball hitter. 2-1 count. Millwood, see if he goes back to that slider again.
3-1.
Up with the fastball. You can just see the look on his face. The wheels are spinning, trying to figure out what sequence he wants. Now, we got to throw a strike.
And the pitch. He walks in a run. Coming home from 3rd is Teixeira. The Yankees are on the board. They trail 2-1. An RBI for Russell Martin. His 2nd walk of the game. And here comes Willis, Carl Willis, the pitching coach familiar with Millwood, their time together in Cleveland. He will talk things over. They come out to Yankee Stadium on Sunday, May 20th, when the Yankees take on the Reds in an interleague matchup and enjoy a Yankee Stadium tradition. It's Bat Day. The first 10,000 guests, 14 and younger, are going to receive a Curtis Granderson replica bat courtesy of Bank of America. For tickets, log on to Yankees.com. Visit the stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or call Ticketmaster at 877-469-9849. It'll be next Sunday.
Good at-bat by Russell Martin there. Took a couple of good close pitches. Oh, Jeter, I bet Jeter's sitting first pitch fastball right here.
Chop up the middle, grabbed there by Ryan, and he fires to first to get the double play. 2nd double play of the afternoon banged into by Jeter, but the Yankees do get on the board, and they strand 2, will go to the 6th. The question was, What do you think is Andy Pettit's signature moment with the Yankees? You've been voting at 42951 all game, and here's how you voted. 35% say it's outdueling Smoltz in the '96 World Series. And close by, 31% 4-0 in the '09 postseason. You were there for that '96 game. That was pretty special.
It was one of the best games I think Andy's ever pitched. And it started the run, really. I mean, that whole '96 season was the start of the 4 out of 5 World Series championships. And Game 5 was obviously a pivotal game against John Smoltz, who also pitched exceptionally well in that game.
Line drive and a base hit off the bat of Ackley. Nick Swisher cuts it off in the gap. Beautiful play, and he holds Ackley to a single. Some play by Nick Swisher coming up and throwing a bullet to Jeter.
Almost like the ball went through his legs, almost like a trick play. With a quick slide and a pop up. He had to get that left leg out of the way. Well done.
There's a strike. Joe Girardi said before the game, we'd love to get 6 innings out of Andy. Well, he's got a great pitch count right here. He can go up to 90, 95. He might get more than 6 innings out of Andy Pettit.
With 3 walks as well. Snuck in there, I believe. Andy's always been very adept at, not only, as we said, shutting down running games and picking off runners at first, looking for his 100th pickoff of his career, coming in 99 as we mentioned, but he gets double play balls too.
That one gets away from Martin, and that allows Ackley to get the second. So a wild pitch for Andy.
Well, that'll take care of that. No double play here. See Russell Martin a little bit fooled there, you know, kind of sitting in the rocking chair looking for that cutter, and did not get into the block position. Tries to backhand it as opposed to smother it with his chest protector. Martin got a little caught in between there. Andy now probably thinking strikeout, and Casper Wells thinking productive out.
That one's driven out to right field. Fair ball, it's trouble. It's off the foul pole for a home run. A 2-run shot off the bat of Wells, and it's 4-1 Seattle.
The silencer of the crowd. Wells just trying to get the runner over to third, thinking the other way the whole time. Gets a cutter up and out over the plate. Doink. 2-run shot.
Here's Ichiro. So Wells' first home run of the year. Slow roller toward Cano, and he gets Ichiro for the first out.
Couple of cutters up and out of the plate resulted in 2 home runs.
Here's Montero. Count 0-1. I think it'd be very tough to get high pitch counts pitching against Seattle.
They generally have a lot of free swingers. A couple of guys in their lineup that will take pitches.
That one's driven to right field, giving chase his Swisher. He's going to have to play it up against the wall, and that will hold Montero to a single.
Montero set it coming in here. He's looking at right field every at bat, every pitch. Wells, what a gift. He's just thinking, get the runner over to third. He gets a pitch he could drive the other way and finds the foul pole.
Right back through the legs of Pettit and into center field. So Smoke picks up his second hit. Montero stops at second. So 4 hits this inning against Pettit.
That'll get Larry Rothschild on the horn. Some of these balls are starting to get hit hard. And even though his pitch count's in good shape, when the cutter gets flat and up and over the plate, as you see another one that's right there, right through the wickets. Smoke getting good swings today.
Corey Wade up. Liddy fouls it off. And the 0-1 to Liddy. It goes around, says Jerry Mills. Missed outside 1 and 2.
I think when Andy looks back, at least on this part of the game, he's going to think, you know, I had pretty good control. My pitch count was under control. Pretty good stuff. A couple pitches got away from me, but he hasn't pitched inside as much as I think he probably needs to. Some good command of his changeup down, the backdoor cutter, but the one time he tried to come in on Smoke the last at bat with that cutter, he left it out. Haven't seen a lot of Seattle hitters move their feet today to set up that backdoor cutter.
Martin goes out and talks with Pettit.
Just in case the Seattle employs some lip readers, they're covering their mouths.
He's tied for the most pitches in any inning with 16. This will be 17 right here.
From 0-2 to 3-2. Little trouble putting away hitters this inning. Trouble getting on the same page with Russell Martin as well.
The 3-2. Still 3-2.
Up to 81 pitches now. Andy looking for a double play here, something on the ground that can keep him in this game.
Another 3-2. And again, foul back. So Liddy really battling Andy Pettit.
Another 3-2 pitch, the 8th of the sequence.
Hammered foul. And he's having a difficult time putting Liddy away. And again, another meeting with Martin. One batter like this can suddenly make that solid pitch count not so solid.
See, haven't seen a lot of curveballs either. A lot of the same plane, same speed pitches, cutters and two-seamers. Threw some really good curveballs early in this game and kind of got away from it. Curveball gives him that variance and speed that he needs. A little bigger break, a little slower velocity.
3-2. Now this will be the 11th pitch of the at-bat. And there's a base hit to left field. Montero will be held at third. Throw is cut off by A-Rod, and the bases are loaded with one out against Pettit. So he loses that battle to Liddy. And now Rothschild will go out and talk with Andy.
Well, after the fastball, here comes the cutter. Liddy with an outstanding at-bat.
As they talk with Andy, let's take a look at tomorrow's starting pitchers, brought to you by Verizon Fios. Welcome to America's fastest, most consistent, most reliable internet. Welcome to Life on Fios. Ivan Nova will go for the Yankees against Jason Hamill. 4-1, 2.09 for the O's. Coverage begins at 6:30 right here on Yes. And the first pitch right on 7:05. Here's Ivan Nova.
Great trade for Baltimore, getting Hamill out of Colorado.
I guess Camden Yards doesn't seem like such a hitter's park when you come from Coors Field.
No doubt about it. And Hamill always had a good arm. Mid-90s, heavy sinking fastball. Really thriving for the O's.
Here's Mike Carp. Big spot in this game. Missed outside in the count 1-0.
Falling into a pattern of similar velocity type pitches here, Michael. 82 to 83 to 88.
Hammered down the right field line and foul.
Variance and speed, throwing off the hitter's timing, so important. Andy usually does that with that curveball. He can get it down in the upper 70s in terms of velocity. We've seen him touch 90 with his fastball. Generally speaking, most pitchers like to see at least a 10 to 13 mile an hour, 12 mile an hour difference between your top velocity pitch and your lowest velocity pitch. See Carp with the bases loaded. Small sample, but good numbers.
Could not hold up. The 1-2. Chop to Teixeira. There's one. He's coming home. And there's two. A double play. 3-2. So Andy needed that to keep it at 4-0. You got the ground ball from Carp. And Montero is tagged out by Martin. But 2 runs on 5 hits. And 2 runners left. We'll go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Branderson, Rodriguez, and Cano coming up. And Andy likes the 2 Yankees. All right, so Andy got the double play he needed. And that's the matchup so far between the two veterans. Kevin Millwood, 3 hits, just 1 run. Andy, 7 hits, 4 runs, 3 walks, and 2 strikeouts. So 2, 3, and 4 in the Yankee order against Millwood, starting with Curtis Granderson. 1-0.
Both veteran pitchers working out of bases loaded jams to minimize some damage, potential damage that could have happened.
Count 2-0.
Granderson, 10 of his home runs at home this year, just 1 on the road.
Granderson has not had a good series. He's now 3 for his last 22, and he has really struggled against Seattle. Average at 260 now. It's popped up. Montero gives it a look and then makes the seats. The 2-2. Missed inside. Still good life on the fastball for Millwood, 92 miles an hour.
He wanted that one. A little chirping from the Seattle bench, too. Home plate umpire Scott Berry.
Two close pitches. Granderson takes them and works a walk. Here's Alex. He's 0 for 2, grounded to third and struck out. Soft ground ball to short. Ryan goes the second one on to first. Double play. Never thought they'd turn 2 there, but they did. Ryan to Ackley to smoke.
No chance. Especially the ball took about 3 or 4 hops, and Ryan, one of the rangiest shortstops in the big leagues, with a good feed. And Ackley, nice turn. No way you're going to get 2. Oh, yeah, by a step. Veteran loves it. 76 pitches now, Millwood. 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th, in great shape.
Count 0-1. Robbie's 0 for 2. He has a 10-game hitting streak.
You can see there that last pitch from Millwood, 72 miles an hour, big slow curve, had Cano way out in front. That's a pitch that Andy could have used a little more of in the middle innings, and just enough to stretch out the hitter. Millwood up to 93, and his low end 72.
Count 0-2 on Cano. Lucas Litke warming up for the Mariners. From a town of 301 people in Texas. So, got a few more here at the stadium today.
Sure, he's had a few people butcher his last name over the years.
The 0-2. 1-2.
Millwood can win with this stuff. You know, we mentioned before, you know, he's looking for his first win of the year. He's lost his four in a row coming into this, but he's never lost 5 in a row in his career. which has been over parts of 16 seasons.
Did he hold up? Yes, he did, said Chris Conroy.
I'll give him that. My whole point on check swings, Michael, if the bat enters the strike zone, it should be a strike because you can spoil a pitch.
Strike 3. Cano takes it right down the middle. He doesn't think it was, and he tells Scott Barry as much. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. We go to the 7th. Michael Saunders will lead it off against Andy Pettit. Was that a strike? Pretty good.
Picks him up on the Ichiro, the fist pop, the eyes, good curveball. Kind of got away from that pitch. Here's the lows. Uh-oh, that gets out, and so does that. That's some quick damage. 4 runs. Now we're back to live.
And Saunders fouls it out as we start the top of the 7th. Cadillac scoreboard, 4-1 Seattle leads. You know, we've been talking about Mother's Day, which it is today, and we have to honor a dad. Our director, John Moore, yesterday was his dad, Ellis Moore's 88th birthday. So happy birthday to Ellis. High fly ball, shallow left. Long run for Ibanez. He can't get there. Hits into that low wall pretty hard.
Love that name, Ellis. Ellis Moore.
Now the incredible thing is Ellis turned 88 and John is 73. So I mean, you do the math, but it's amazing.
It was different back then. They got started early.
Happy birthday 1 day late to Ellis Moore. The 1-2. Just missed with that one.
Russell Martin's going to have a little talk with Scott Barry there on that pitch as Corey Wade once again up and ready.
That pink bat is now kindling, and the ground ball is out. Time for the game summary brought to you by your local Nissan dealer. It's 4-1 Seattle. Andy doing some housekeeping there. 4-7-0 Seattle, 1-3-0 for the Yanks. Pettit's gone 6 1/3. Casper Wells a 2-run home run. Smoke a 2-run home run, and that's a difference. Now Andy Pettit's going to receive a warm ovation from the crowd as Joe Girardi says 94 pitches, Probably enough. He hasn't signaled yet. Now he has. It's going to be Corey Wade. Listen to Andy's ovation. The first game at least, and Joe Jordy makes the call to the bullpen, brought to you by AT NYA. And the call to the bullpen brings on Corey Wade with one out here in the seventh. The numbers on Wade: this is his 14th game, 16 strikeouts in 15 innings, just 2 walks.
Quietly, another excellent season from Corey Wade, under the radar. More prominent now, obviously, with Mariano Rivera's injuries. He's bumped up as well.
There's a number 9 hitter, Brendan Ryan. And that's going to squib back fair. And Teixeira will step on the bag for the out. It started foul, and it came back with some English on it into fair territory.
You don't see this very often, but occasionally, yes. Corkscrew. Look at the spin on that ball.
Looks very cool. Very cool in the Esmo.
Ripping some blades of grass like a weed eater.
Count 0-1 to Ackley. So, David, what'd you think of Pettit's first game?
You know, pretty good. You know, he was very sharp with his control. Pitch count was under control. Just a couple of home runs. Some quick damage against Pettit, you know. And both of the balls were hit hard, but one was off the foul pole. One was a line drive that got into the second row in left field. And, you know, as a pitcher, you're going to look back and go, man, just 2 pitches. But all in all, he got deep into the game. Very much welcome back. He needs a little offensive support here to make this start taste a little better. It looked like he came out smoking, had a no-hitter through the first 3 innings, I believe. He really got off to a quick start. And a couple of big 2-run home runs kind of deflated him.
Smoke with the 2-run shot in the 4th. And Casper Wells with the home run off the right field foul screen in the 6th inning. He worked out further trouble in the 6th, bases loaded with 1 out, but got Carp to hit into a double play.
His velocity was up, as we said. He touched 90 miles an hour through all of his pitches. I think he got away from his curveball a little too much. He had a good curveball in the early going. But all in all, everything's there for Andy. All the stuff is there. The Yankees should feel good about it. And so should he.
Strike 3. Ackley down looking. So 1-2-3 in between Pettit and Corey Wade. At the end of 6.5, it's time for the 7th inning stretch. Mariners lead the Yankees 4-1, but we're going to stay right here to honor America in the Bronx.
Now for a moment of silent prayer as we remember the servicemen and women who are serving our country at home and around the globe. Thank you. And now, join in Robert Merrill's rendition of America the Beautiful.
Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea. Let's hear it. America, America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
Leading the Rays by 2 games, and the Yankees will go into Baltimore after this game. They have a 2-game set in Baltimore, 2 games in Toronto, just a mini 4-game road trip, and then they'll head back to New York where they'll play the Cincinnati Reds. Interleague play begins next Friday. 3 games against the Reds. Little tiny Jeter fan enjoying the festivities with Mom on Mother's Day. Yankees looking for a rally as they trail 4-1, trying to sweep the Seattle Mariners on the Cadillac scoreboard. Mark Teixeira will start it off. He scored the only run, and that was in the 5th inning on a bases-loaded walk issued to Russell Martin. Yankees had an opportunity in that 5th inning. That's when it was still 2-1. But Derek Jeter wrapped into an inning-ending 6-6-3 double play with the bases loaded and 1 out.
Everybody talks about Derek Jeter, and his high ground ball rate. Just the 2nd double play this year he's hit into.
Both today. Luke, left side. And the third baseman, Liddy, makes the play.
Really looked like Teixeira was trying to take another shot to left field.
He simply has not acted on his promise in spring training. I mean, such a big deal was made out of how he was going to bunt to the left side. You're down 4-1. They are giving you a hit. They're literally giving you a hit. And he is, up to this point in the season where he struggled, he has not chosen to do it. He's not taking that bunt hit. Again, it's easier said than done. It's not easy to just lay down a bunt where you want to. But if you talked about it and practiced it, you would think you'd try. But Mark has yet to do that. Grounded foul. This is what Mark said. If they're playing a big shift, I might lay down some bunts this year. I'm not going to complain about hitting 39 home runs, but obviously I'd love to bring my average up. It's left-handed singles. If I can lay down a few bunts, beat the shift a little bit more the other way, then I'm right where I need to be. It's May 15th, and that has not been happening. As Nick Swisher flies out to Saunders for the second out.
Quietly, as you said, Michael, Yankees looking for base runners, hits any way you can. Kevin Millwood's held this Yankee lineup to 3 hits today. 86 pitches, 2 outs in the bottom of the 7th.
One and one to Ibanez. Ibanez 0 for 1 with a walk.
Millwood does have 4 walks. He got out of a big bases loaded jam with just 1 run.
One and two.
We've watched Montero catch twice in this series. He seems to hit better when he's playing a position when he's catching. Noted his numbers, well under 200 average as a DH, over 300 as a catcher. It's his 14th start as a catcher this year, as opposed to 19 DHs. He hasn't really been tested as far as throwing the ball. He's just 1 for 8 and throwing out base runners trying to steal this year. But he's handled himself pretty well back there.
And Millwood strikes out Ibanez. A 1-2-3 inning as the Yankees go down in order. We're going to take it to the 8th. It's going to be Casper Wells, Suzuki, and Montero against Wade. Text your vote to 42951 or vote online at yesnetwork.com. Today's candidates are, well, they're all from the Mariners side. Kevin Millwood, Casper Wells, or Justin Smoke. Vote now and make your voice heard. Standard text messaging rates apply. So Corey Wade came on to get the final 2 outs of the 7th. And now we'll deal to Wells on the Hyundai scoreboard, 4-1. Mariners over the Ants as they try to salvage the final game of this 3-game set. Strike.
Wells' home run that was really a backbreaker for Andy today. That's probably the one he's thinking about. Wells was just trying to move a runner over it from second to third and ends up finding the foul pole. 2-strike pitch, and Andy was trying to put him away. Left it out up over the plate, and Casper Wells just lined it right down the line here at Yankee Stadium.
Fouled away. Millwood talking with Sean Figgins, who just doesn't play anymore. Makes $9 million a year, signed a big money contract with Seattle, and they can't find a space for him.
So valuable too as an Angel, and Mike Scioscia could play just about any position on the field.
And he's an equal opportunity slumper. He's 0 for his last 13 against lefty pitchers and 0 for his last 14 against righty pitchers. We have not seen him in this series. Strike 3. Casper Wells down looking. Here's Ichiro, and let's check out the Home Depot hitter scouting report on Ichiro Suzuki.
It's hard to believe Ichiro now been around 12 years. He had 10 straight years of batting 300 with 200 hits. That was broken last year. He hit just 272 last year with 184 and puts it in play. He's the hardest guy to strike out in the American League. 12.6 at-bats per strikeout. Nobody's even close in the league to that. And his roles change. He's batting third now. He only has 3 stolen bases this year after 40 last year. Perennially a high stolen base guy.
Well, you talk to people around the Mariners, and this is the last year of his contract. And they don't know what they're going to do. And you see where he stands historically. Hits through their first 1,784 games. Ichiro at 24.68. And there's 24.69 as he's going to double into the left field corner. But the big debate in Seattle, what do? Do you bring him back? He's not a power guy. He's batting third. He's not your typical third hitter. And I guess he has to play 3 more years to get to 3,000. What do you do?
Well, it's interesting. You know, they've asked him to change his role here, as we just mentioned in the scouting report. You're batting third. You know, he's better off leading off. Even though he doesn't. It's hard to strike out. He's not looking for walks, but he puts the ball in play. Among the league leaguers in infield hits too. He'll slap it and run. It's so popular out there in Seattle. You know, you got a young team here trying to build for the future.
But the thing you hear about him is he's kind of a loner. He's not really a leader in that sense. And so you're a veteran guy, 38 years old. You want him to lead your team. He's not really that guy. And they say during batting practice he hits more balls in the seats than anybody, but that's not what he wants to do. He wants to get his hits.
Very similar to Wade Boggs in that regard. Wade Boggs, one of the best BP home run hitters I've ever seen, but was more concerned with the batting average and getting to 3,000 hits and getting good at bats.
couple of guys I spoke to say that Ichiro would be a perfect fit on a team with bumpers. But the Mariners don't really have home run hitters, so he's just one more guy who's not a home run hitter. And those are how his hits break down.
Lou Piniella was the manager in Seattle for years, and he tells a great story about Ichiro, about when he first came over. In the first few games, he was just slapping the ball on the ground and running and hitting the ball the other way. And Lou went up to his interpreter and asked him, "Can you pull a ball? Can you hit the ball out of the ballpark?" So his next at bat, sure enough, boom.
Ground ball, backhanded nicely by A-Rod. The long throw, a bouncer, and it's scooped up by Teixeira to get Montero.
Alex ranging on the line. Montero out in front of the Corey Wade offering. The ultimate test for a third baseman. What are you going to do? All the way? Or do we try to do the two-hop? Not as he drew it up, but Teixeira picks him up on the second hop. To finish that story, you know, Ichiro came back in the dugout after hitting a home run and said, "You happy now?" to Lou Piniella. And then went back to slapping the ball on the ground. And Lou said, "Okay, at least I know you can do it." He knows a little bit of English.
I was told that he is absolutely fluent, and he'll talk a mile a minute when he's on first base, talking to Jeter there. But he will not do any interviews in English because he doesn't want anything misunderstood or anything like that. But I've heard that he speaks beautifully. One time, our former colleague Jim Cott walked up to him in the batting cage, and Ichiro out of nowhere go, "How you doing, my brother from another mother?" So I mean, he even knows colloquialisms. Doesn't want to speak English in an interview.
The way Jim Cott's bounced around in his career, that's not too far from the truth, man. Sorry, Kitty, I love him.
The 0-2. Smoke fouls it away. A lot riding on Smoke to succeed. Mariners pulled the trigger on the Cliff Lee deal, and Smoke was the main component coming back from Texas. Big switch hitter. He's had his moments, he's had his months, but he's slumped a lot as well. Never really found a groove, a steady groove. But he's 2 for 3 today. Clay Rapado warming in the Yankee bullpen. We should note the bullpen's one man shorter than it was. Cody Epley was sent down to the minors to make room for Andy Pettit on the 25 man. Swing and a miss. Smoke. Down on Smoke. No runs a hit, no errors, and one man left. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Looks like they're going to the bullpen. Eric Chavez next. Matt Curry are back in our studios to break down this series finale. Plus, Meredith Morakovitz is in the clubhouse for the postgame reaction. You'll also hear Joe Girardi's manager's report. It's the WB Mason postgame. It's only on Yes. New pitcher, as Kevin Millwood did a great job over 7. Now it's Tom Wilhelmsen. 21 strikeouts in 18 2/3 innings. Opponents hitting .250 against him.
Hard throwing right-hander. We saw him yesterday. Mid-90s fastball.
Chavez takes outside 1-0. Eric is 1 for 2. Hyundai scoreboard 4-1 Seattle. Lined into center field. It is a base hit. Saunders thought about it. Ends up short hopping the ball. So a leadoff single for Chavez, his second hit of the afternoon.
Dangerous. This ball gets by him. We're looking at a triple. Chavez, a bullet right back up the box. 95 miles an hour off the bat, probably 105. But actually, a nice play to keep in front of him. Got caught in between trying to catch it, as Michael said.
It was Martin. Fouled the other way.
Russell Martin, one of the few hitters that struggled at home, Yankee Stadium. Good place to hit. Coming into this game, just 4 for 45, 089 at home, and hit 286 on the road.
Buzzed him upstairs.
Running, hard gas. Look at the catcher's mitt kind of snap back along with Russell Martin's head. Classic. Up and in, little chin music, and then the knee buckling curveball.
Strike 3. Got him looking.
Wicked. Watch Martin's reaction. Montero has a hard time even catching this. It's broke so quick and sharp. And
there's a base hit for Jeter. So his first hit of the afternoon, and that'll bring Granderson up as the tying run in a 4-1 game.
I don't think this is the matchup that Seattle really wants. The Yankees like it.
Eric Wedge doesn't like it, so he's going to call on his left-hander Lucas Litke. So Wilhelmsen gives up a single of Chavez, a single of Jeter, and Wedge is trying to keep this game 4-1 and also keep Granderson in the ball game or in the ballpark. Stay tuned, see how it works out. all-time list. The base hit by Jeter was his 3,142nd, so he now ties Robin Yount for 16th place. 10 more is Paul Wainer. 12 more, David's old teammate, George Brett.
Bye-bye, Tony. Hello, Robin. Knocking on the door of Paul and George.
So the new pitcher for the Mariners is Lucas Litke. Those are pretty good numbers. Small town in Texas, population just over 300. The crowd today at the stadium, 41,631. He hails from Brenham, Texas. I said 301, but I think they've repopulated. It's 304 now, the population. One and one.
Good looking slider there. Litke looking for an ERA. Seattle hopes it stays at 0, at least for one more game.
Lefties do not necessarily keep Granderson in the park. He had 16 home runs against lefties last year. He's 0 for 2 with a walk today. Two and two. Steve Delabar, hard-throwing right-hander. Now, Litke was born in Brenham, Texas, and actually was raised in Industry, Texas. And Industry, Texas has one blinking red light in town.
It's nice of him to let it stay blinking instead of turning all the time.
Swing and a miss. So Litke gets Granderson for the second out. With Alex up, that's all Litke's going to do is come in to get Granderson. So now they'll bring in Delabar to face Rodriguez. Litke's parents have a convenience store slash car wash. And when asked why they opened it, they said they didn't want people to have to drive 20, 25 miles for the nearest car wash in a big city. So Litke in a big city does his small town proud, strikes out Curtis Granderson, still has a 0 ERA. Now it's Delabar against A-Rod when we get back. Yankees down 4-1 as they try to sweep Seattle. Steve Delabar comes in. Throws hard, 21 strikeouts in 16 and 2/3 innings, only 2 walks, 11 hits, so his whip is under 1. Has a high ERA of 4.32, but opponents at 183 against him. We saw him yesterday. So now Alex Rodriguez steps in as the tying run. No, we actually saw him on Friday. And he gave up the home run to Andrew Jones. Alex is 0 for 3 today and really hit into a very strange double play in the 6th inning. Very slowly hit ball to Brendan Ryan. Never thought that they would double up A-Rod, but they did. So he has a chance to atone right here. One and one.
We had one thing in mind with that swing, and a good sinker from Delabar down. Alex is thinking big fly, almost pulling off of that sinker. Much better at home this year than on the road for Alex as well. 369 at home. Batting average.
1-2. Turns around and asks Scott Barry if that was a strike.
Delabar with good late sinking life.
Two on, 2 outs, 1-2 count. The right-hander deals. 95 away. And Soriano getting loose.
Kind of showed him away with the 95. See if he goes back to that power sinking changeup. And Alex swung to the first 2 pitches.
Checked his swing. Did he go? No, he did not. So Jerry Meals gives A-Rod another opportunity.
He did go to it. Boy, that's close, but he held up. Montero doesn't think so. Neither does Eric Wedge in the dugout. Delabar's got, I don't know if he's splitting his fingers on that, but that's a really good power sinker. Looks like he's got the split in the glove.
Warner goes. And A-Rod walks. Bases loaded for Cano.
This is not the matchup that Eric Wedge wanted to see with a hot-hitting Cano and the bases loaded.
So Eric Wedge now has another lefty, Charlie Furbush, and that's who he's going to call on. So he is using quite a bit of his bullpen just to get through the 8th. Stick around. Cano comes up as a go-ahead run. set with the first place Orioles. Coverage starts at 6:30 with the Tri-State Court pregame. Then Ken Singleton will join me in the booth to call the action only on Yes. Yankees would like to go into that game with a 4-game winning streak. They're down 4-1 and they have the bases loaded. Robinson Cano coming up, and Charlie Furbush, the fourth pitcher used by Eric Wedge, comes on here in the 8th. Fourth pitcher this inning. Those are the numbers. So Wilhelmsen started the inning, then Litke, Delabar, and now Furbush. Great numbers with the bases loaded. 8 grand slams, a .317 average. Chavez at third. Jeter at second. A-Rod is at first.
No pressure, kid.
Jumping out of the way of that one. Almost was a strike.
Big sweeping slider from the lanky Furbush.
Sean Kelly up. Cano already has a grand slam this year. David, you were there.
I was. It ruined Luke Hochevar's day. Change up down and away, and that's the swing that got Robbie going. He'd been rolling over off-speed pitches up to that point, and since then, he's been on everything, including spitting on these first 2 sliders from the young lefty.
The 2-0. 3-0. There's no place to put Cano.
Nail-biting time if you're the manager on a getaway day trying to avoid the sweep. You got another reliever, a righty, warming up as well. See if Joe Girardi is going to turn Cano here loose on 3-0.
And he walked him. That forces in a run. Both Yankee runs today have come in via the bases loaded walk. So Cano picks up a ribby. It's 4-2 Seattle, and that's going to bring up Mark Teixeira. Let's see if Wedge makes a move, because the belief in baseball these days is that Teixeira is a much better right-handed hitter than he is a lefty hitter. So you keep Furbush in. You have him playing to the bigger part of the ballpark, but his stronger side. Looks like he's going to stay with Charlie Furbush. Teixeira with 17 ribbies this year, despite a .225 average. The lefty deals. And he deals a strike. Big spot in this game as the Yankees can erase this deficit. Jeter's at third, A-Rod's at second, Cano is at first. Foul back 0-2.
93 miles an hour right there. Teixeira with a good swing, fouling it straight back. Got in on him a little bit. Furbush beat him. What a good swing.
The numbers are split, right-handed, left-handed, fairly equally. But you talk to people, they fear him more from the right side than they do the left side. Count 1-2. The pitch. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Teixeira hears some boo birds here at the stadium. Yankees creep closer. 1 run, 2 hits, and the bases are left loaded. We're going to go to the 9th as the Yankees trail by 2. These couple of double plays and bad situations, one with the bases loaded by Jeter, and then the strikeout of Mark Teixeira on a breaking ball low in the zone ends that bases loaded threat. But the Yankees still in it 4-2 as we go to the 9th inning. They keep Corey Wade in, and Alex Liddy will lead off. Andy Pettit started. Wade came in to get the final 2 outs of the 7th and worked a scoreless 8th. That one is laced into right center field. It's a base hit. It splits the outfielders, and it goes to the wall, and Liddy picks up his 2nd hit of the afternoon. Clay Rapata warming. And with Carp due up, Girardi's going to go for the left-hander. So Rapata against Carp when we get back, as the Yankees try to hold it right here at 4-2. Game hanging in the balance, so come back. Next, the Emmy-winning series Yankeeography chronicles the career of fan favorite David Wells, including his improbable perfect game at May of 1998. Do not miss the premiere of Chevy Presents Yankeeography, David Wells, Thursday at 11. It's only on Yes.
You know, I think he's selling that Babe Ruth hat he wore during the game.
Oh, really?
It could be had if you're interested.
Pitch to Cart. Why don't you give David's home number and people can call up?
I already gave out my home number online. I was lonely.
Did it blow up?
Yes, it did. Yeah. Still does. I kept the number too, just for free entertainment. Just to clarify that story, David Wells bought one of the original Babe Ruth hats that Babe actually wore.
Clark Bunce foul.
And wore it during the first inning of one of his starts at the old Yankee Stadium. And once Joe Torre, the manager, then figured it out, he made him take it off and find him.
Yeah, he wasn't happy.
Wasn't too happy about it, but my line to Boomer was, "Don't worry, you just increased the value of that hat." Sure enough, he's going to pay for that fine 20 times over now when he does sell it.
Count still 0-2. I bet you Boomer's very proud that he has a Yankeeography.
No doubt about it. Yeah, that's going to be a great show to watch. There's a lot of material to cover there with the Boomer.
The 0-2. Nice job by Rapata striking out Carr. Let's see. Joe Girardi, teammate with active managers. He was a teammate of Wedge in '93, Dale Swaim in '98 with the Yanks, and Mike Matheny in '03 with the Cardinals. So Joe Girardi is kind of developing the branches of a coaching and managerial tree. There's Saunders. Sky to right. Nick Swisher's there. He makes the catch, tagging is Liddy, but just draws the throw. Our very own Jack Curry just texted me, David, that Wells bought the cap for $35,000, and the expectation is he's going to get a lot more for it now.
Yep, there's also, I believe, that Don Larson is selling his uniform from the World Series perfect game as well. It was expected that early estimates were $500,000 for Don Larson's perfect game World Series full uniform.
Brendan Ryan takes a strike from Rapata. There's a happy Ranger fan. They won Game 7 yesterday, 2-1. And tomorrow they start their best-of-7 Eastern Conference Final Series with the New Jersey Devils. The winner of that series plays in the Stanley Cup Finals. Rangers now 5-0 in their organization's history, playing Game 7s at the Garden. Boy, you can hear Brendan Ryan go, "Ooh," as he swung and missed.
You need some sound effects there. That's when you start your swing and then you're worried about getting hit.
Listen to it. It sounds tough. And the 1-2.
Just in case you're wondering, if a batter does swing at it and the ball hits him, it's a strike. And we've seen that several times before, especially guys with hard sliders that break a lot. Hitter starts to swing, takes one off the kneecap. You get 2 for 1. You get a strike and a knot on your knee. Swing takes precedence over the hit.
The 1-2. Missed inside. If you want to look ahead to the bottom of the ninth, then why wouldn't you? Swisher, Ibanez, and Chavez as the Yankees try to make up a 2-run deficit. And they'll do it against Brandon League. Curry updates us on that cap again. There have been 9 bids on the cap so far, and the highest bid is $208,000, and the bidding runs through May 19th. Good investment for David.
More than pays for the fine he got from Joe Torre that day for wearing it in a game.
The 2-2. Just missed outside. And the payoff. Foul.
Yeah, Wells has got all kinds of stuff. He's been a collector of memorabilia forever. He's got Babe Ruth's original white cashmere coat that he wore the last day, I think, when he had a reunion here at Yankee Stadium. One of his last public appearances, he had a white cashmere full-length coat. It's on a mannequin in Boomer's basement.
Driven deep to left field. And it's a foul ball. This will be the 10th pitch of the at-bat. And Rapata deals. And he walked him. So Ryan wins that battle. And that's going to bring up Dustin Ackley. There's a strike. 0-1.
Sets up the whole at bat. He paints him down and away with the fastball. Now he can go to breaking him off. Rapata very much looking for angles. Sidewinded lefty. Much tougher on left-handed batters, obviously.
Misses inside by a lot. The count 2-1.
Key is the command of that sweeping slider. Did you see that one kind of slipped out of his hand?
Home plate umpire talking to Joe Girardi. That one is outside. Yes, it is. Barry said, "That's it. I'm not listening to you anymore." Gave him a say, and that was it. 3-1. And that's going to load the bases.
That's why we have excellent microphones down there to pick up those conversations with the manager and an umpire. That was interesting. And Rapata working himself into a jam.
Talking about David Wells, but Casper Wells struck a big blow today, and this go back to the 6th inning.
Well, just trying to move the runner over. You can see that swing, and all of a sudden you find the foul pole. Got a 2-run shot. Andy Pettit on a 2-strike pitch. Last thing you think was going to happen there. That was the third and fourth run of the game in the 6th inning for Seattle today.
Freddie Garcia gets up. This is a very important batter in this game. You have any chance of coming back in the bottom of the 9th, you got to keep it at 4-2. You can't give up multiple runs here. There's a strike.
I'm a little surprised that Girardi didn't have Garcia up earlier, or somebody else. He's let Rapata face the right-handers here, and predominantly your second lefty in the bullpen is just strictly for left-handers.
Slowed down by Rapata, and then he throws it away. 2 runs will score, and a huge error by Rapata. If he had let that ball go, Jeter makes the play. It's the end of the inning. So it's 6-2 Seattle.
Well, Michael's right. It's hard. When you're a pitcher, you just react. You go get that ball, but you can see that Jeter's got a beat on that if it gets by him. Now he tries to recover off the ricochet. An ill-advised throw magnifies the problem. Good pitch to get the ground ball. Can't fault him for that reaction. It's hard to hold back. But right here, there's really no chance as he tries to save it. And the walks come back to haunt you in this situation.
Ichiro swings and misses. Count 1-1. Count 1-2. One-two pitch. That one is looped into center field. Backing up as Canoe makes the play. But the damage has been done. 2 runs, 2 hits, 1 error. 2 men left. We go to the bottom of the 9th. Yankees need a 4-run rally. 6-2. Doing a brisk business with those pink bats. Yankees are not doing much with those pink bats today, as they scored only 2 runs over 8 innings. Now they'll try to do it in the bottom of the 9th against Brandon League. 8 out of 10 in save opportunities. This will be his 17th game.
Former Blue Jay, hard thrower. Mid-90s with a power splitter to go with it. Swing and miss type stuff. And not afraid of a little ink.
Here's Nick Swisher. It'll be Swisher, Ibanez, and Chavez, 6, 7, and 8 in the Yankee order against Brandon League. Not a save situation, but Eric Wedge wants to nail this down, get out of New York with 1 win. .96 miles an hour. Boy, ever since you mentioned it, David, Nick has been such a selective hitter, but this year he is jumping on pitches early in the count.
He is. His extra base hits are up. His walks are down. RBIs are up too.
Driven out to left field and deep, going back Wells. He's on the track. He's out the wall and can't make the play. The ball bounds into the corner. Nick Swisher around second. He's going to third. He is out. Oh, you cannot get thrown out when you are down by 4 in the 9th inning. Just a bad base running maneuver by Nick Swisher. You take that extra base, you got to be standing up.
The look says it all. First of all, Wells looks like he was there. He overran it. Not in a hurry to get there. Now all of a sudden hurries up. And the call is made by the home plate umpire, who just punched him right in the jaw almost with that call. Right on top of it is Scott Berry. And it looked like the fingers might have got in there. And watch this punch out. You see the fingers are in. He's safe. And watch home plate umpire Scott Berry. Almost like he's just going to punch him right in the jaw.
Well, the replay shows that he was safe.
A little close. Yeah, a little close to that. The home plate, you know, the umpires have to rotate. That's why the home plate umpire is out there making the call. Almost a little too close. In your face with the call.
Another drive to left field. Casper Wells in the corner for the second out. The old saying goes, and it's a saying because it's true, you never make the first out at third, and you never make the last out at third. And you also have to consider the scoreboard as well. Moving to third really doesn't do much for you there. You need base runners. You're down by 4. So although the replay showed that he was safe, you've got to be safe by 30 feet in order to take that extra bag.
You could see Nick Swisher have, after that play after he was called out, looking at Rob Thompson, realizing that mistake, Michael, right away. And the problem is you got to realize it before you make the mistake.
Another fly ball to left, another one deep. Wells back on the track, and the Mariners win the final game of this set, 6-2. So on a day when Andy Pettit returns to Major League Baseball, he suffers his first loss. He gave up 2 2-run home runs. The bullpen gave up 2 runs in the 9th, and the Yankees win the series 2-1, but they lose this game 6-2 to the Mariners. Kevin Millwood will get the win, his first of the season. Stick around for the postgame show to find out who's today's Chevy player of the game. Andy Pettit lasted into the 7th inning, but 2 runs in the 4th, 2 runs in the 6th against him. He got 1 out in the 7th, and he took the loss.